Hello and welcome back to Art with Mrs. Hudson. Today we are going to create some roads using our primary colors, and we will be creating our secondary colors. So our first step is to use one of our primary colors to begin making a stripe of color on our page. So we will use a ruler, or if you don't have a ruler, you could use the edge of a notebook, and you can use the notebook to create two lines instead of using either side of your ruler. But if you have a ruler, the ruler is going to work best for us. So what you're going to do is you're going to start out with creating a line of one of your primary colors on each side of your ruler. Now, as I said, you can also use a notebook to create your roads. So I'm going to use my notebook here, and I'm going to make a road that's going to go across my page. Now I have to keep my notebook approximately where I want it. Oops. Make sure my pages are inside there, and I'm using the edge of the notebook. And I'm going to line it up, and I'm going to keep my road all the way to the end. Next, I'm going to create another line of blue so that I have two lines with space in between. Now, it's easiest if you use a ruler that has two sides. If you have a ruler that goes all the way across your page, it's even better because then it's not hard to connect. You don't have to move it. But what we are going to do is I'm going to actually now, let's see, where do I want to make my next road? You can make your roads at angles, you can make your roads be straight, whatever you choose to do is fine. So I'm going to now make this red road so that it crosses both my yellow and my blue roads. So now I'm going to go on the other side of my ruler. I need to adjust my ruler and make it go beyond where it stops. So now I have a red road. So my red and blue cross, my red and yellow cross, my blue and yellow cross. So when I color my roads, wherever our colorful roads cross is where we're going to mix our colors. In those spots is where we're going to see our secondary colors. So you can stop at 3 roads, or you can add extra roads if you choose. I'm going to add one more road that's going to cross both yellow and red. So in that spot, I want to make it be all 3 of my colors mixing together. So I'm going to make this road be blue, and I'm going to make it go all the way across my page. So now when I look, this triangle has 1 blue, 1 yellow, and 1 red. So what we're going to do is we're going to see what happens when we mix all 3 of our colors together just in that spot. So first things first, we are then going to start with using our watercolors, our tempera paints, or you can also use markers. So if you're working at home, this might look differently than if you're working at school. So my first step is going to be to create this color right here, or wherever my colors cross. So I'm going to start out with my lightest color first, always. So I'm going to start out with my yellow. I'm going to rinse my brush. Then I'm going to add my red. So when my 2 colors mix together, you could also use food coloring for this, they make orange. Do you see that? So next I'm going to do, because these roads are on the outside of my red, these 2 are just going to be blue and yellow. So I'm going to start with my yellow here. Now what happens when you're painting next to crayon is the crayons resist the paint. So crayons are made out of oil, and we are using water colors, so the water and the oil don't mix together. So usually your crayons will always show up even if you paint over them. So we mixed our yellow and our blue, and we ended up with green. We have the same thing down here, so we're going to paint that square yellow. So we're doing all of the cross sections first. So wherever our colorful roads crisscross is where we're going to paint first. And I just kind of mix my colors around gently with my paintbrush, really soft strokes. I never let the metal touch my paper. All right, so now let's do this space where we have our red and our blue. So we're gonna fill in our space with some red. Rinse my brush, gather some blue, mix it all up, and our color becomes purple or violet. Add a little bit more blue. Even a little bit more. There it goes. More purple. So same color is going to go down here. Because I already have purple on my brush, I'm just going to add it right in. Take a little more of that color up here because it's pooling or gathering together. It says that I have more than I need in my picture, so I'm just going to spread that out. Pull some of that color off so that I don't end up with big blotches. Rinse my brush. All right, so now our last mixed color is going to be in the spot where all three of our roads cross. So we're going to start with our yellow. Rinse our brush. Remember, you only want to pick up a tiny amount of color because it gets really watery, and we're probably going to bleed a little bit into the other colors. So if you have a paper towel, you can always pull some of your color off. So now I'm going to take a touch of blue and I'm going to add it in there. And I think my two colors here might try to bleed together, so I'm going to pull some of my color. So if I dry my brush, I tap it on, it kind of sucks some of that paint up for me. But I think I sucked too much paint up, so we need a touch of yellow, a touch of red. I'm afraid I'm going to mix my colors together here, and then I'm going to touch of blue. So when we mix all three colors together, they become like a brown color. Did you notice that? So we typically will get either brown or a gray when we mix paint all of our primary colors together. So there's our brown. All right, so now the next step is to fill in any areas of our roads that are remaining. So I'm going to start with my lightest color first, which is yellow. Fill in my yellow road. Okay, now our final step to creating our colorful road color mixing project. We are going to add in our black to really make our colors pop out so they come alive when we contrast them with a dark color. So we're going to be very, very careful. We're going to add a little bit of water to our black watercolor paint, and we're going to color in all of our background spaces. Very gently using my paintbrush, long brush strokes to cover the whole area. I'm being nice and careful, going kind of slow whenever I get near a color because we don't want to color over our colors. The crayons will help to keep the colors from going into our spaces, but we still want to try to be careful. Thanks for joining me for color mixing with Mrs. Hudson.